Steve Gibson. I'm Vice President at Gearbox Software.
I'm going to start off kind of super broadly. Can you explain what Battleborn is?
Oh, geez. Okay. That's honestly a bit of a complex answer, because Battleborn is way more things than Gearbox has ever built before, all into a single game. The story mission stuff that you're seeing here today, that is a co-op campaign shooter, right? And the really interesting thing there, in addition to just being hopefully a fun story, is you can play from any one of 25 different character classes that we're building. And that is a great thing on its own. And the thing that is also special about that is that we built a system in place that the problem with a lot of shooters is that when you choose your character class and you start playing through the story, say you're 10 hours in and you are like, man, I really wish I had played as this other character class, but I don't want to start over, but I'm on this particular mission, I really wish I was a dude with a turret, right? So what we've done in Battleborn is we've taken the leveling system and we've made it so that that's actually more of a profile level thing, kind of akin to the badass rank system in Borderlands. So now I'm partway through the story and I want to try one of these other character classes. I can switch over to that guy and I don't feel regret for like I'm taking a step backward anymore, right? I'm getting to experience all these new character classes throughout the story. So that's a really, really exciting innovation for what Battleborn is for the co-op campaign and being able to play character classes. On the other side of things though, there's multiplayer modes. We've taken all kinds of different influences to build a few different multiplayer modes. We've shown off Incursion. We've got another mode, Devastation, and even another mode on top of that, Meltdown. A lot of people have made the comparison of the Incursion mode to the MOBA genre because they have these creeps that are similar to MOBAs where they have those things. And that's great. Like, agreed, those guys are doing amazing work in that genre, so of course we're going to take some influences there. But the other multiplayer modes as well, there's all new things that we think we're going to hopefully excite people about as well, all different multiplayer modes. So there's just a lot going on there, right? So what is this game? It's a lot of things, man.
You led with the reveal of Incursion. Yeah. Obviously, the whole of the game is a wonderful, beautiful thing, but is Incursion like the main event?
No.
No?
No, Incursion mode was one of the hardest problems to solve though. So that was something that the designers were most proud of, right? But to say that's like, that's just one of the multiplayer modes, but that was the thing that we knew if we were going to have a shooter with 25 different character classes, and we were going to have a multiplayer mode that had NPCs and buildables, that sounds really hard, right? That sounds hard to make it balanced and work, so we actually front-loaded that work. That was the stuff we knew we needed to solve. We knew how to make stories. We knew how to make a co-op campaign, so we started solving that problem first. Once we felt like we solved that, we started building out all the things. So that's the reason that came out first, is just because that's the biggest problem we had, the biggest challenge.
So you've got the leveling system that you kind of touched on before, in which it's kind of like a MOBA leveling system, in that within each mission, even in a story campaign, it goes from 1 to 10, correct? And then you kind of start from scratch the next time you start. How does that work across all of the modes you've got? Is there anything that ties in your progression? Yeah,
so that's the thing I was talking about. So the story campaign and the multiplayer modes, they all have did you play Borderlands 2?
Yes.
Do you remember the badass rank system?
Yeah.
A bit. So that was a profile level leveling system.
Right.
So what we've taken profile level leveling and gear and that kind of stuff, and we've applied it at the upper level, so that I can switch around my different characters.
I see, okay.
So that I can do all these things. Right. So that's what happens there. But we also want people to feel, progress through just the one bit of story and have their characters change throughout the piece of story as well. So that's why we had the big leveling system where all your progress is stored up here, but your progress through the mission or the multiplayer match, that's where the character leveling happens. Okay.
Going back to the story, what's the reason that the characters are doing what they're doing? What's the lore behind the game?
So the story is actually, I'm amazed that they figured out how to make this make sense. So there's science that tells us that all the stars in the world, or in the universe, they'll eventually burn out. So if you imagine, as time progresses, there will be a point in the universe where all the stars are burned out except for one. And what you would imagine happen at that point is anybody, any races, any of these stars that are capable of space travel, they will probably leave their dying star and travel to this one star that they all can see. So that would have you in a situation where, like, okay, all these races from all these different solar systems, they've all come to this one place because it's the last place where there's energy coming from a star. So that kind of explains to you, like, okay, why are these wildly different kind of, you know, races all in the same place? It doesn't make sense. So that's the construct of, okay, everybody comes here. And so what happens next is, okay, all these guys come to this place. They're all like, what do we do? There's only one star left. And they discover that the star's fading is not just a natural occurrence. It's happening for some other reason. And so when they find out is this, you know, evil Varelsi race that's doing this thing, you know, they put aside their differences about like what they're going to do with this star, and they fight the Varelsi. So that's what happens.
Okay, cool. So at the heart of the game is the fact that there are numerous heroes.
Yes.
Like you said, all from different places.
Yes.
They all have very different abilities and styles. 25 at launch, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we've seen 10 so far. Tell us a little bit about the creation of those characters and some of the unique things that they can do.
We knew pretty early on that we wanted to be as aggressive as possible with the number of characters we were making. And what that allows for you to do is that you can actually be more specific in how they work. You can be more specific of like, well, I like being a melee guy, and I don't need any range attacks whatsoever because I am always in there. I'm going to draw people in and just draw all the aggro and just do all the things where I don't have anything I can shoot or anything, right? And that sounds very, very challenging for a guy to be effective on a battlefield by himself. And if we were going to make a game with only 4 character classes, we couldn't really do that because that guy's, you know, in various mixers just useless in a lot of ways, right? He can't do a lot. But when we knew we had all these other things, we actually have in the demo you saw, you see 3 different melee classes. You see the dwarf character Thorgan, you see Phoebe, the fencing, I don't know, thing.
Princess, right?
Well, sure. And then you have Wrath, the, let's say, space vampire samurai, right? So these are all melee character classes, though, and like they all have very different. That's what they're called, but they all have these different kind of ways to even go about melee. And because we knew we were doing so many, like we could actually go along very specific paths of doing that, and that was freeing to the designer because they knew, like, man, we have to decide on, like, okay, there's only one sniper. We have to kind of stick to the basic principles of what a sniping class would be to make people feel comfortable. But when I'm like, okay, I could probably make 4 different snipers. Well, then that kind of affects, like, what is his alternate skill? Does he have a, you know, what other things can he do? And different classes or different selections I can make as a sniper is actually a lot more fun and freeing to those guys because they can be more extreme in the directions.
The way that you've got it set up suggests that there will be further characters released in the future. 2K got some stick recently from the way that Valve handled that kind of stuff. Are you talking about DLC yet?
Oh, we don't even have DLC plans.
Okay.
Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, we really don't. Like,
okay.
There's no like milestone schedule. There's no contract. There's no nothing. Like the game is just build this. But to be perfectly candid, man, I hope the game is successful enough that they would make that a reasonable choice. But right now, that's not even on the table.
Okay. Battleborn shares some kind of broad qualities with Borderlands in the kind of colourful art style, the humour. There's a lot of humour in there as well. What's the kind of origin story of Battleborn? Did it start out as a Borderlands project? Have you considered branding it as like a Borderlands spin-off? What's the deal?
No, it was a brainchild of Randy Pitchford and Randy Varnell of what they wanted. They knew that they had this goal of leveraging the strengths of Gearbox as a whole, and Borderlands, although wonderful in a lot of ways, was also the universe had some things that didn't match up with some of the things they were imagining they would like to do. I mean, wouldn't be surprised to see in the future maybe the guys think about ways to tickle those little cross-universe things, but that's so far off the thing as it is now. Like we have lots of projects going on, and Battleborn is a brand new IP that we're we're happy to be doing something new again, you know. And that's like, you've got guys who've been working on Borderlands for what, a decade? They're ready for a new challenge in a new universe, you know.
Right. Going back to the Helix leveling system, am I right in saying that it's essentially one side is attack-focused abilities and the other side is defense?
For a lot of the guys, yeah, it's more basically offense or defense in a lot of places, yeah. But that's for the assault class guys. When you have to think about, say, Miko mushroom head thing, right?
I love your descriptions of the characters. Yeah.
That's a support class, a healer. Yeah. So it is healing groups versus healing individual, right? Like, depends on the subgenre of character class you're doing. But yeah, for the assault guys, it's basically offense, defense.
Talking of the similarities between Borderlands and Battleborn, I can totally see those characters turning up. The Gunzerker, Zero, they're so kind of, there's a similar tone kind of shared across the games. And that's nice because there's not a lot of other games that have got that kind of playful kind of style. Yeah, they don't take themselves seriously at all kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we've spoken about that, but it's really like we want to build a new universe is the goal right now. Yeah, that's been turned down more than once. The demo that we played, it was pretty easy.
Yes.
That was nice from my point of view because it let me get used to the characters rather than battling anything else. Is that just for demo purposes?
Yeah. It was let them see everything and imagine we'll balance it for making it harder later. Is what the
and the leveling as well. Was the leveling scripted? It seemed like people were leveling up at the same time.
Very close to the same time. It's not technically linked, but if you've played, I'll use Diablo as an example. You know, when you kill a ball, like almost everybody levels, right? Yeah. Right. It's not officially linked, but because we started you at the same XP level and you're kind of playing the same thing, like whoever has the kill shot gets a bit more, but because everything was accelerated and made easy, it felt like it was linked.
Okay, you know? Cool. I don't know how much you've played of it, but have you got a favourite hero yet? Everybody that I've spoken to that's played the game has immediately identified somebody that they're really into. Who is it for you?
I have two favorites, so I'm kind of cheating, but Orendi, the Space Witch, simple enough. It's got 4 hands and shoots those crazy looking, like, I don't know what you would call them, but they look like spiked rings with an energy beam through the middle of it. I like Orendi because that's just crazy looking. I don't know what the hell, and I love just the hands where they're casting magic and all that craziness. It's just the visual spectacle is bonkers. But the playing as, I kind of like Caldarius really right now. The mobility, Caldarius is the robot mech guy. So his is just because he can jump and then jetpack further, and all the mobility is really great. And his AoE attack of going up super high in the air and then smashing down into people. So,
mine is Marquis. I'm all about Marquis.
Yeah, you're a sniper. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it felt more. I really like the 3-shot thing with the bonus. It felt super satisfying to ping people from across the map.
Yeah. Did you use the? I don't know what that is, like that space bubble thing. That's one of the skills where you can fire out a bubble and it'll.
Oh, it slows time.
Slows people down.
It deals damage as well, right?
Yeah.
It was fun. It seems like, although there are numerous characters and they've all got their own abilities, they broadly fit into categories.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of like area of effect kind of things that broadly fit into the same thing. I suppose that's one way of keeping it manageable and accessible if there are some kind of broad similarities.
Yeah, because there's like assault, there's melee, there's support, right, and there's snipers. Yeah, there's roughly, but they can go in a little bit more of extremes of the versions of a sniper or the versions of melee. But yeah, there's basically categories for sure. Yeah. This is Steve Gibson from Gearbox Software. Battleborn is out this coming winter.